Welcome to MSUA's Game Changers Live, where we speak with satellite and mobile connectivity thought leaders about where the satellite industry is headed, especially as it relates to mobile applications. I am your host for today, Lisa Dreher, and I am really excited to introduce our guest for today, Blane Boynton. He is the VP of Product Development at Intelsat. Welcome to the show, Blane.
Hi, thanks, Lisa. Happy to be here.
Yeah, so thanks for making time for this. Maybe we can start by having you just give a little bit of background on yourself and Intelsat.
Sure. So I'm Blane Boynton. I lead product development here at Intelsat. And what my team does is we take the underlying network and capabilities that we have built out, and we package them up into solutions that are appropriate for different verticals. So my team has a pretty wide remit. One day we might be working to build a new terminal for commercial aviation. Another day we might be looking at how to change the connectivity service experience for maritime shipping. And then yet another day we might be looking at how to provide more seamless battlefield connectivity for government users, who are one of our largest customers. So it's a fun job. I rarely get bored. And it's very interesting to see all the different use cases for connectivity across kind of a wide swath of verticals.
So how did you come to head up product development at Intelsat?
Yeah, so I love to build things. I've always worked in product development in one capacity or another, and I've had stints in hardware and services and everything in between. And so I got to say I have a kind of an affinity for systems and the hardware side of things. But if you want to be a contemporary product developer these days, software is a huge piece of the puzzle. And so we look at development from an end-to-end standpoint. It is a confluence of hardware and software and systems. I've had the pleasure or the fortune to work on everything from unmanned aircraft early in my career to armament systems, like for the Apache helicopter, the Bradley fighting vehicle, commercial aviation, Boeing 787 program. My team worked on the battery charger there. And then in the last kind of 8 years, it's been primarily services related. 8 to 10 years, I was with Honeywell and I did business jet connectivity services there for a little while, and then came over to GoGo and now Intelsat. Kind of looking after let's call it connected people and things type of business.
Right. Wow. So Intelsat's been bringing a lot of new things to market recently. Maybe you can talk a little bit about the new offerings that the company is bringing to market.
Yeah, we're building a lot of really interesting technology that's going to yield a step change in the way connectivity works. Our Flex network is our end-to-end service offering for global connectivity. And Flex serves a number of verticals. We serve many different applications. We serve fixed and network or enterprise applications. We serve mobility, huge maritime component to our Flex mobility business. I think we connect about 9,000 or 10,000 ships across merchant shipping and other maritime applications. We connect about 2,000 commercial aircraft, and we're growing. One area of growth for us is connectivity for vehicles and things, right? So we're looking into fleet connectivity, specifically agriculture, heavy industry, mining. Those are areas of interest for us. And then what I would call industrial IoT, right? So we're looking into how to take the significant investment we have in our space segment and apply it to what I'd call like scaled Internet of Things applications. So, monitoring municipality infrastructure, wind and solar, things like that.
Wow. Okay. So that is incredibly broad. What are some of the key trends that are influencing the direction of the company, especially as it relates to some of those mobile applications you were talking about?
Sure. We'll call it non-geostationary orbits. NGSOs are all the rage these days, right? We've got new constellations from OneWeb, which has recently completed their launch schedule for global service. Starlink seems to be launching satellites every time I turn around, growing their network of global coverage. we have a public filing for our own MEO, or medium Earth orbit constellation, that we're working on here at Intelsat. And then, of course, there's the 56 or 58 geostationary satellites that we have in orbit, that we use to really provide the backbone of our global network today. A couple of huge trends that we see. The first one is around multi-orbit service provision, right? And so what that means is that a person, a thing, a customer can take advantage of both the geo connectivity, right, and the non-geostationary connectivity. So in the case of aviation, we're building a new multi-orbit terminal. Primarily in its first release will be for regional jets. And that terminal is capable of connecting to our geo network of high throughput satellites, and it's capable of connecting to the OneWeb LEO network of low Earth orbit satellites. And so this creates a huge advantage for airlines and passengers. As an example, you can get the best of both worlds. That terminal can operate on LEO when and where it makes sense, and we can provide a differentiated experience, say over the poles where we don't have geo coverage today, right? And at the end of the day, when there's a high density environment, like around the US northeast coast or Atlanta or maybe Los Angeles, we have the depth of capacity that the geo network brings, right? And so the terminal can move in and out of those networks somewhat seamlessly. And this, prevents airlines, for example, from having to pick sides. They don't have to go pick a constellation and stick with it forever. That lock-in is a very real thing. Those multi-orbit use cases are manifesting themselves in every vertical we serve, whether it's shipping, maritime. The government use case is very much a multi-orbit use case, even fixed and enterprise applications. So multi-orbit's the name of the game. We're a fan of it. We think that customers shouldn't have to choose, and we're very interested in providing the best and most differentiated customer experience. And we'll do that by blending together capacity across different networks, the same way that telcos and cellular carriers do it today. They're aggregating different networks and different capacity, and they're providing, at the end of the day, a great experience on your mobile phone. So we believe in that philosophy. So right. Multi-orbit's a big one. Second one is virtualization and kind of software-defined everything. So this trend in kind of infrastructure IT that's maybe 10 or 12 years old, where bare metal is being replaced by virtualized instances. A lot of times those virtualized instances live in a cloud. We're starting to see that happen in our business as well. And we are a big fan of it. We want to move to massive scale, off the shelf compute and other hardware. We want to get reuse of hardware that's say destined for 5G applications, et cetera. We believe that's going to create a huge opportunity to reduce the CapEx costs associated with mobile satellite connectivity. So virtualization is another tide that's starting to roll through our business. As is the nature of things, it's about 10 years after it hit the terrestrial side of things, but it's coming now in full force, and it's really exciting.
Wow. Amazing. So when you think about the geographies that you're covering, you kind of talked about now being able to cover the poles, and I know Intelsat has a very broad geographical coverage. What are, I guess, some of the most far-flung geographies that you're able to support, and what are some of the use cases for that connectivity?
Yeah, so one of the big missions we have, right, is to connect the unconnected, and so that means that we provide connectivity almost everywhere. We provide the internet backbone to a number of island nations. That's a big piece of what we do. We provide cellular backhaul services into a lot of sub-Saharan Africa, right? So getting those local or regional cellular networks backhauled into the global telecom framework, or that's a job that we do. That's one of the important things. That's a piece of our puzzle. So yeah, those are a couple examples. With the advent of NGSO, right, whether that's LEO today or MEO tomorrow, we can truly cover the globe pole to pole. And there's two primary areas where that's very interesting. The first is the government, obviously, because of the current political climate, is very interested in being connected over the top of the North Pole. So we see a lot of interest there. and airlines. There are a number of polar routes that international flights fly. And in a geo-only network, you incur an outage, right? So, for example, Chicago, Hong Kong, that flight, if only served by geo assets, would incur like a 4-hour outage as you go over the top of the pole. And we can fix that now. We can layer in multi-orbit connectivity. We can keep folks that are traveling for business and maybe like me that don't sleep well on airplanes. At least we can keep you working or entertained, whichever is your poison.
There you go.
Yeah.
So when you kind of mentioned your relationship with OneWeb, what role are partnerships really playing in this ability to just provide connectivity everywhere?
Partnerships are huge. We have a great partnership with OneWeb, and we're going to make, we're bringing to market some really interesting multi-orbit offerings, as I've talked about. We partner with a number of other regional satellite providers and asset owners. That's an important part of broadening our own reach and making sure that we have capacity everywhere that it's needed. We have a growing network of terminal partners, right? So in the aero business, we're working with a company called Stellar Blue to bring that multi-orbit terminal to market. We have other partners in almost every vertical that are helping us invent these new terminals, right, that are multi-orbit capable. Our most important partners, obviously, are our customers, and we have really long-standing relationships with a lot of very large kind of marquee businesses around the world. And then the last kind of facet of partnership is our solutions providers. So in a lot of our verticals, we go to market. Our channel is through solutions providers. And we have a great network of Flex SPs, Flex solution providers that are serving these very different businesses at the end of the day. And a lot of those customers, a great example is a company called Satcom Direct, who is our partner in business aviation. And they are absolute masters of their craft. They know business aviation better than anyone on the planet. I would take the Pepsi challenge on that, right? So we're very lucky to have them, and we like to enable them to grow their business, right, which is good for us. So our SPs are a huge piece of the puzzle as well.
Right. So you've mentioned a few really interesting case studies, use cases in passing already in our conversation. Is there one that you can maybe dig into a little bit more detail on and tell us kind of how that worked and why it's important that you're providing that service?
Yeah. So I will give an aerospace example because we are deep in development on this aviation terminal, on this multi-orbit aviation terminal. We have about 1,400 regional jets in the U.S. that are on our legacy air-to-ground system, right? That's the system that was installed under the GOGO banner in a lot of cases up to 10 or 12 years ago. And those aircraft are ready for a revolution. They need a wholly different connectivity experience. And so we set out to specify, design, and build a new terminal that is low profile, low weight, right? Has a lower fuel burn profile and drag profile, has no moving parts, right? We're using new electronically steered array technology that is it's a flat panel of microchips. That's what goes on the top of the plane. It's 3.5 inches tall. I mean, this is a major difference when you look at kind of a legacy a gimbaled radome installation. There's no radome on it, right? That's another piece that's exceptional. Radomes are very expensive. They're very complicated. They have a lot of maintenance that goes along with them. So the state of the art of the ESA technology is allowing us, one, to enable the multi-orbit use case because those ESA panels are really agile and they switch very quickly and they're capable of looking at one network and then another network, allowing us to innovate out the radome and a lot of the pieces that really are driving the TCO, the total cost of ownership at airlines. And now we're looking at a worthy problem, which is how do you provide a uniform and seamless service experience, right, with these different networks. And so we worked with our partner SBS. We put an experimental installation on our Intelsat owned CRJ 700. Y'all may have seen pictures of our jet. That is a flying test platform. That's all we use it for. But we put that together and we flew that aircraft around in the first quarter, and we flew the world's leading airlines, and we showed them that the new ESA technology is ready for prime time, that multi-orbit was a thing that could be had sooner than later, right? And that a really great experience is coming, is capable on a small antenna that is smaller and lighter and has few moving parts. So it's been a really fun project, and we've had great partnership with OneWeb and SBS and a couple of our internal divisions who've had, just a really pretty legitimate contingent of inventors, building something that's going to be an industry first. So we're really excited about it.
Yeah, very exciting. What would you say are some of the biggest changes that we'll see in the coming, I guess, years? What should we look out for?
Yeah, I'm going to give you the one that keeps me up, that we're really putting a lot of effort on right now. We've got to make satellite simple. All right. And this is make satellite simple is a saying that is coined by one of our business leaders here, Jean-Philippe Gillet at Intelsat. It's been so hard historically to consume SATCOM, right? You need a weird combination of patience and grit and probably some network configuration capability in your background, right? We want to make all that just a thing of the past, right? So, we look at some of the benchmarks for changing that experience, the way that, home office connectivity works in coffee shops and things like that. We want to make it so that you take these, you take these things out of the box, you set them on a table and they just go, right? And so we got a lot of software development right now that is going into making the edge, right, the terminal edge smarter. We want the terminal to ask for the resource that it needs, and we want the network to respond and give it that resource in real time, right? So you look at the buying model. So one, the ease of use is going to change. Number two, the business models, they're going to shift, right? We're going to seamlessly blend geo and non-geostationary capacity together, right, to provide an even better user experience. And we're going to do that in ways that are just seamless to passenger or to customers and to passengers. So I'd say those are two of the big areas that we're looking at.
Great. Really exciting. So as you may already know, the Mobile Satellite Users Association celebrated our 30th anniversary last year, so 31 years this year. And kind of with that in mind, we've obviously seen a lot of changes over the last 30 years. And we want to get your perspective on what you think we can expect 30 years into the future. So put on your prognosticator cap, and what do you think we'll see?
I got it. So we are absolutely convicted that the satellite fabric is going to become a transparent part of, let's call it, the global communications infrastructure and fabric, right? One shouldn't know in the near future whether they're on a 5G tower, a satellite-based connection, or some kind of local, maybe, local private LTE network. We don't want people to worry about that anymore. And the technology is getting there. The incorporation of satellite into the 5G standard, into 3GPP and future releases is really encouraging, and it shows that the standards are moving in that way. We are building our next generation network to be absolutely seamlessly interconnected with the global fabric. And when we don't know that we're on satellite, that's when we know that we're done. So
fantastic. I can't wait. I cannot wait. So the sooner the better. I hope that happens well before 30 years passes.
I hope so too, and I think it will.
I do too. Well, Blane, if someone wanted to learn more about Intelsat and all of your amazing services and products, where should they go?
Yeah, a couple options. So one, you can look us up on social. We're pretty active on LinkedIn. We had a really funny thing. We did a thing called CatSat for April Fool's Day, where we talked about a brand new MEO network, MEO with a W. So that was kind of fun. Our marketing team is really good, and they had a lot of fun with that. So you can look us up on LinkedIn. You can go to our website, intelsat.com. You can catch us at almost every major trade show. Please feel free to reach out. We love what we do. We're a very passionate bunch, and we believe we're going to change the world. And I think that's going to happen.
Fantastic. Thank you so much for being here today. We really appreciate it.
You're very welcome. Thanks, Lisa.
Yes, and I just want to take a moment to also thank the Mobile Satellite Users Association for hosting these sessions. If you want to learn more about the MSUA, visit msua.org and you can learn how to become an MSUA member, as well as how to get our weekly newsletter that keeps you up to date on all of the latest in satellite mobile connectivity and what's happening. So be sure to visit msua.org, and we'll see you next time here on MSUA's Game Changers Live.